A single mother perched at the edge of the cafeteria line usually goes unnoticed. But one autumn afternoon, I saw something I couldn't stop thinking about. She stood there, shoulders tense, eyes scanning her son's lunchbox, not to admire its contents, but to count the coins in her purse. Every possibility flickered through her face. Maybe I can borrow from the school office, or maybe I can hope a kind stranger helps today. In that moment, time slowed. This wasn't just another lunchroom, it was a crossroads of dignity, need, and humanity. And I decided, I wasn't going to look away. Elementary school cafeterias are buzzing places, kids trading snacks, friends giggling, teachers reminding everyone to wash their hands. Norms of childhood traded as easily as a cookie for chips. But set against that cheerful chaos was a quiet tension, guilt and uncertainty loaded on a mother's face. We all know what it's like to feel just a little short of enough. To worry if fun stretched this far. And now. True enough, I've skipped a latte or gone without a new shirt when money ran thin. But that lunchroom? It was different. Her son, 6, perhaps 7, stood by her side, oblivious. He pitched himself forward to receive a warm plate of food, a sandwich, fruit, milk. He smiled like he just got a surprise gift. Meanwhile, his mother's gaze darted back and forth between the price tag and her empty purse. That simultaneous joy and despair cut deep. I stepped closer, clutching my coffee but noticing every nuance, her flush of embarrassment. I felt a knot in my chest. The cafeteria's chatter blurred, the smell of pizza sauce seemed sweeter, and that single moment resonated. She just needed a hand, and I could give it. "Hi," I said, voice soft enough not to startle. "Let me take care of today's lunch." Her head snapped up. For a split second, disbelief flickered across her face. I repeated, "I've got it." The cashier rang through my card. I can still feel the gentle hum of the terminal, the fleeting moment before the transaction posted. She lifted her son's lunch ticket. The mother's shoulders slumped, not in relief, exactly, but in sheer surprise. Her eyes filled. I didn't let her words tumble fast, she spoke with that breathless whisper, "Are you sure? I can pay you back." I smiled, held silent. The tray changed hands, from school staff, to me, finally to her son. The boy beamed like he'd just won something wonderful. He joined his friends, oblivious to the emotional stakes. I turned to the mother, her lips trembled. She whispered, "I don't know how to thank you." I answered, "No need. Just pass it on someday." She nodded, wiping her eyes. I walked away, coffee still warm, heart heavy, but hopeful, because one simple act had shifted something. Later that week, I returned. I thought perhaps I'd pay again. But I found a small note taped to the cash register. "I don't know who helped my son's lunch that day, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am struggling and ashamed I couldn't feed him." That kindness reminded me I'm not alone. It was signed with her name, Simone. Beneath it, she'd written, "I'll wait until I can pay it forward." I felt all the possibility in that note. In a culture of self-reliance, admitting need was brave. She dared to reveal vulnerability and let kindness in. It was stronger than me. I made a decision, this single gift wasn't enough. What if she wasn't the only one? What if other parents were quietly waiting at the edge of dignity? I set up a small fund amongst friends. A silent, no questions asked, lunch assistance jar, seeded with my own cash. We left instructions with school administration. We didn't publicize it. We just did it. In the days that followed, I watched. Not out of doubt or surveillance, but to check if we were making a difference. I heard from the cashier. 2 or 3 more parents used the fund. No one sent thank yous. No social media posts. Just quiet relief. Just dignity maintained. And then came Simone again. One morning she approached the cafeteria with my heart pounding in my chest, like meeting someone after an unsent letter. Her face glowed in the school's harsh fluorescent lights. She came close and said in a rush, "I did it. I paid it forward today." I asked, breath caught, "You what?" "I used some of the fund to help another parent. It felt exhilarating. Thank you for giving me that." Tears pricked my eyes. She'd done it. The fund wasn't just fiscal, it had ignited something deeper. That afternoon, after school, Simone and I talked at the edge of the playground. She told me about her life, recently separated, trying 2 jobs, bills stacking. The fund helped her stretch, but what she carried was exhaustion, doubt, and pride fraying at the edges. I listened. I recognized something: self-worth isn't tied to income. But it sure can feel erased when you can't provide a basic meal for your child. She said, "For a long time, I didn't ask. I thought I'd lost the right to ask. But that day, when you, a stranger, offered, it changed me. Not just financially. In how I see my place in this world." In that moment, I realized something I hadn't expected: kindness isn't just about what you give. It's about what you return to someone, their hope, their sense of dignity, their power to be generous themselves. We sat on a bench, leaves crunching. Kids peeled off the playground, calling parents, "Mom," "Dad." We looked at them, laughing, carefree. And I thought, that could have been a harder moment for someone. Instead, here we were, fueling more smiles than one. The ripple effect began gently. Another parent, Mr. Martinez, came forward saying his daughter used the fund. He quietly contributed. Then casually offered to donate packed snacks to the after-school program. Another teacher saw the fund's impact and asked to match donations from staff. On teacher-parent nights, Simone volunteered at the concession stand. One evening, her daughter stood proudly beside her, handing out water bottles. That daughter later said, "Mom, when we ran out, and you helped them, you looked happy." Simone burst into tears laughing. These 3 families, my own, Simone's, and the Martinez family, discovered something fundamental: you don't need to wait for perfect financial footing to do good. Any act that preserves another human being's dignity is valuable. That school year rolled on. We began small fund drives in the community, discreet and compassionate. The fund's original name, Pay It Forward Lunch Fund, became part of the parent-teacher newsletter. It grew into a broader well for school supplies, coats, field trips. Always anonymous. Always respectful. Every quarter, Simone sent a short note. "Today I helped another. Thank you for giving me that choice." Every time I read it, I remembered that day in the line. I remembered her shock, then relief, and all that swelling potential she rediscovered. On a bright spring morning, we held a small informal gathering in the cafeteria. The principal, teachers, parents, and kids mingled. The fund was sustaining dozens of kids each month. We'd reached multiple school districts. Each quarter, the gifts danced through the lunchroom. I stood next to Simone, she'd insisted I be there. She wore a simple blouse, her hair tucked behind an ear. She took the microphone. I expected her voice to shake, but it didn't. 2 years ago, she began, I was that woman in line, the one who couldn't pay for her son's lunch. I was exhausted, frightened, ashamed. A stranger stepped in, just one plate of food. That simple kindness gave me back my dignity. It gave me permission to ask, for help, for humanity. Then, permission to help others. Murmurs of agreement passed through the room. She smiled at the cafeteria crowd. Teachers, friends, neighbors. I want every parent here to know, we don't have to go it alone. When we protect our children's dignity, we protect ourselves. When we step forward, we let others see, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to be strong. Tears collected in her son's eyes. He'd seen the hardest and was witnessing something beautiful: community, empathy, shared strength. Then she turned to me. "Thank you, for seeing me, for helping me, for believing we could do more." I could barely speak. My voice caught. I glanced at the rows of tables, kids chattering, families smiling, strangers enveloped in compassion. That day, I understood clearly: one act builds connection. Many acts build community. We stood there, rooted in dignity, wrapped in kindness. The story didn't end that morning. It just became something else, something ordinary yet powerful. Families continued to give and receive. Kids learned that needs aren't failures. Givers learned that compassion isn't charity. It's affirmation. Today, the Pay It Forward Lunch Fund expands. It's not flashy. It's not broadcast. But it hums quietly, in the wisdom that a stranger's help can remind us we belong. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a bridge. Generosity is reciprocal, it helps both giver and receiver. Simone's son graduated that school year, clutching a certificate for compassion in action, not the top math grade, but a heart more important. He had volunteered to help younger kids in the lunch line, hands-on, passing trays himself. And when another family needed help, he asked the cashier, "Can I pay it forward?" Just like his mother did before him, just like I did before him. I think of that autumn day often. I still carry coins in my purse sometimes. But more than that, I carry a lesson: the power of one moment, offering without judgment, can echo in lifetimes. A meal offered freely carries more than nutrition, it carries respect, hope, affirmation. To everyone listening, reading, watching. This isn't just a lunchroom story. It's a story about what we do when we see someone else's need, when we pause from our own routines. It's about courage, both to offer and to receive kindness. It's about humanity. Let this story remind you: small generosity builds more than a meal. It builds community, self-worth, connection. It tells the world, you matter. We're in this together. We don't need grand gestures. We need simple pipelines of kindness, in lunchrooms, in checkout lines, in next-door neighborhoods. One person stepping in can change a life. One life changed can fuel countless others. Pay it forward isn't just a saying. It's a practice. And it begins with a moment of recognition: I see you. I can help. And when that moment happens, everything shifts. If this story touched you, ask yourself, what can you step into today? It could be a meal, a smile, a word. It could be giving a hand to someone who needs dignity, hope, connection. Because one act, done with heart, can echo far beyond our sight. It reaches classrooms, neighborhoods, generations. That's the power of kindness. That's the power of humanity.